Welcome everyone to our lunchtime webinar with Nuance and Crescendo. We're just going to wait a few more moments for everyone to join. So if you'd be patient and just hold fire, we will start in around about a minute. Well, welcome everyone, and many thanks for joining our webinar today, which is entitled Why Clinicians Are Adopting Medical Speech Recognition. Next slide, please. My name is Simon Wallace, and I'm the CCIO for Nuance Communications. And I'm joined by Simon Howard from Crescendo, and he'll introduce himself in a moment. If we can go to the next slide, I'm delighted to be co-hosting this 30-minute webinar, and you can see the agenda we've got for our next 30 minutes. We've got a live demonstration of Dragon Medical One, and then some testimonials of where Dragon Medical One has been used. And then Simon's going to tell you about the opportunity for a trial, and then we're going to have some questions at the end. And on that note about questions, if you do have them during the presentation, could you please type them in the Q&A box? You'll find that in the Zoom control panel, and do that rather than the chat box, if that's possible, please. And we'll answer those towards the end of the webinar. So without further ado, let's kick off our presentation with a demonstration of Dragon Medical One. And I'm delighted to be joined by Simon Howard from Crescendo. I'm going to hand over to Simon. Simon, perhaps a little bit of introduction about yourself, and then showing us how Dragon works as a speech recognition tool.
Sure. Thanks very much for the intro, Simon. So good afternoon, everyone. As you've already discovered, my name's Simon Howard. I'm a speech recognition consultant specialist for Crescendo Systems. Just by way of background, I've been involved in the industry for a long time, as no doubt the beard attests to, and have been involved with Dragon technology specifically really since it first came over to these shores just prior to the turn of the millennium. So I have a long history with the technology. What we're going to show you today is the very latest version, Dragon Medical One, which is a cloud-based version. And by way of demonstration, I'll give you a quick introduction in Microsoft Word, just to show you the basic way that it works from a dictation point of view. And then I'm going to take you on a little journey through in a clinical environment. In fact, I'll be doing the demonstration within System 1. Although bear in mind, of course, that Dragon Medical will work equally well in any Windows-based EPR. So let me just share my screen with you. And hopefully Simon can confirm to me that he's seeing that.
We can see that, Simon.
That's great. So just so you're familiar, over here you'll see on my screen where I'm just indicating the Dragon toolbar, which can be moved to any location you like on the screen for convenience. It's a very simple toolbar. As you can see, you have a microphone on the left-hand side, which is currently red, meaning it's off. I'll put that on, it'll turn green, and I'll begin the dictation. On the right-hand side, you have another button, which just gives you access to a number of productivity features within the product. So anyway, let's make a start. I'm just going to pop the mic on and look forward to your questions afterwards. Open Dragon Medical presentation. Welcome to speech recognition and, more specifically, welcome to the premier and secure cloud-based version of Nuance's flagship Dragon product, Dragon Medical One, full stop. New paragraph. Dragon Medical One is an enterprise-strength speech recognition solution that enables doctors and other healthcare professionals to create high-quality documentation, all by voice, full stop. New paragraph. Being cloud-based and client-light, Dragon Medical One offers consistently high performance and accuracy on practically any Windows-based device, and interfaces seamlessly with any EPR, such as Cerner, System 1, and EMIS, full stop. DMO also features a sophisticated analysis module to monitor the effectiveness of the solution and maximize your investment, full stop. New paragraph. I hope you enjoy watching DMO working within a clinical setting, full stop. Open patient. Stephen Jones. Search. Select. Home screen. Start consultation. The patient has suffered from rheumatic fever in the past, full stop. New line. Mr. Jones also has severe, long-term paranoid schizophrenia, full stop. Examination field. Splinter hemorrhages of his nail beds and red cells on urine microscopy, full stop. New line. Blood cultures confirm Streptococcus viridans infection, full stop. New line. Aortic systolic and diastolic murmurs were heard, full stop. New line. BP is 155/90, full stop. New line. I'm also concerned that the patient exhibited an inability to sit still, together with some involuntary muscle contraction and facial movements, full stop. New line. Insert safety net mental health. Diagnosis field. Rheumatic fever. Code that. New line. Bacterial endocarditis. Code that. Insert patient risk assessment. The patient is suffering from extrapyramidal side effects, which is due to his current medication, oral risperidone 2 mg OD, full stop. Select which is due to, as a consequence of. Go to end. New line. He stopped taking the medication after 2 weeks because of this, full stop. Some of the side effects include akathisia and dystonia, full stop. Insert after akathisia, tardive dyskinesia. Go to end. Outcome of risk assessment. We have discontinued the patient's current medication and replaced it with a therapeutic trial of aripiprazole 5 mg OD. New paragraph. Complete medication history. Haloperidol, 100 mg OD, 2010-12. Next field. Piportal depot, 50 mg OD, 2012-16. Next field. Oral risperidone, 2 mg OD, 2016-present. Finish assessment. Open medication letter. Enter consultant. Select. Right now. Next field. 15 January 2023. Next field. Patient Stephen Jones. Next field. 23 January 2023. Next field. Horner. Next field. All caps on, urgent change of medication. Next field. 18 January 2023. Next field. oral risperidone 2 mg OD. Next field, aripiprazole 5 mg OD. Next field, the patient has a long history of paranoid schizophrenia and, until recently, was treated with oral risperidone, full stop. New paragraph. More recently, he has been displaying extrapyramidal side effects. So I'm changing his medicine with immediate effect to aripiprazole 5 mg OD, full stop. New paragraph. We will review this prescription in 1 month, full stop. New paragraph. Stephen Jones mental health exam. Close document. Mark in error. New task. New task. Jody, new paragraph. I have just sent a draft medication letter to you for patient Mr. Stephen Jones, full stop. New paragraph. As a matter of urgency, could you please review and edit the text where appropriate, then send back to me for final review and sign off, full stop. New paragraph. Many thanks indeed, Simon. Click OK. Discard patient. OK. Do not send. Close system 1. New paragraph. Many thanks indeed for watching this brief demonstration of DMO, full stop. Hopefully it will have alerted you to some of the performance and productivity features that this new cloud-based version can offer your healthcare organization, full stop. Microphone off. Okay, so let me just stop sharing.
You covered a huge amount there, Simon.
Good. Okay.
Well, thank you very much. You covered a huge amount there, and there may well be some questions that come out. Please put them in the Q&A section. There was lots and lots of functionality there that I think may be of interest. And if you've got any questions about it, please pose that in the Q&A section. What I'd like to do now is to show you the reaction of a GP who's been using it for quite a while. And let's play the video if we may.
Accuracy is great. I can speak. I don't have to think about spelling. It just does it all for me. It's absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't rate it highly enough. Yeah, if someone was to take it away from me, I'd be heartbroken. I don't think I could carry on my day-to-day job now without it, because I've just seen how life-changing it is for me in my practice. Like I said, I've got 2 young children. Sometimes I'm out the door at 5, get home, get to the kids. It's fantastic. So yeah, if anyone's got any questions, I'm really happy to answer them. But yeah, presets are brilliant and the accuracy is brilliant. It's really good software.
Okay, well, thanks very much for playing that. Simon, before we go to general Q&A, let's just explore some of the things of what you did, because you did a huge amount of documentation in different places in a short period of time. And this sort of latest cloud-based version of Dragon seems to be a bit of a game changer. Can you articulate what you think has brought that about to try and make the sort of the admin and documentation tasks slightly less onerous?
Sure. And I think you're absolutely right, Simon. I mean, I would absolutely regard this as a breakthrough version of Dragon. And a lot of that is associated with the cloud, also with AI technology that's built into the solution as well. I'm always reminded of back in the early days of Dragon, when it was being presented. And I remember a journalist writing a headline once upon a time. And back then he said, a small piece of Star Trek just fell to Earth, which I think was very apt and appropriate at the time. Well, to try and put that in context and use that analogy, I'd say that with this new cloud version, I think we really do genuinely have the fully assembled USSS Enterprise all ready for takeoff. It's that quantum really the difference. Why is that? Well, primarily, I think what the cloud has done is that it's significantly improved the performance of the software. Now, speech recognition is a very greedy piece of technology, always has been, which is why it's gone through the growing pains as it has, almost waiting for technology to try and catch up with it. But even so, on a client machine, it's still a very greedy piece of software. It takes up a lot of memory, etc. The beauty of the cloud, of course, is that all of that heavy lifting, if you will, now happens in the cloud and not on the client machine. So that means basically that from a performance point of view, you can expect it to run absolutely beautifully all the time. Now, that's a massive gain in terms of the efficiency that can be delivered. Also, I think the other aspect of this version, I mentioned earlier about the AI side of it, it's extraordinarily accurate out of the box. So, a former kind of hang up about the technology was the amount of training involved. Well, the good news is no training involved anymore. So you literally load the software, which takes moments, and you begin dictating. And I guarantee you will be genuinely hugely surprised by just how accurate it is across all dialects, across all accents, straight out of the box. It actually gets better from there, which is even better news. But for me, these two things are significant and groundbreaking: performance, which results in better productivity, and just sheer accuracy.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that with a number of the examples of the medicines and the various clinical diagnoses that you demonstrated there, and that's the cloud. But there's also a medical dictionary, isn't there, that sits behind
Absolutely.
it, that's regularly updated to make sure the latest terms, genomic terms, for example, that come along are included.
And actually a very good point, because with this version of Dragon, it updates automatically. So it's attached to a formulary, and so new drugs that are coming into the industry, brand names, what have you, all of that is automatically updated silently in the background with this version of the product.
Yeah, well, sadly, we're in the middle of our second junior doctor strike at the moment, day 2. And so much is talked about and written about clinician burnout having become a real issue for the medical profession. How do you think that Dragon and speech recognition can help alleviate or contribute to trying to reduce burnout? Burnout's a big topic. How from what Dragon could do you think?
Sure. I mean, I think from this technology's perspective, one of the things it brings to this this debate is, of course, the time-saving aspect of it. Independent research has concluded that using this technology, using Dragon Medical One, can save approximately about an hour a day for a clinician. I think 54 minutes is the specific number that's quoted. But of course, creating the room and the environment for an extra hour a day must have an impact on, I think, on the well-being of a clinician and their ability to be able to work in a less stressful environment. So I think, in terms of that, it brings a lot to this particular debate. Also, I think, and again, related to this cloud version, the fact that it can be deployed in any location on any Windows-based machine brings in flexibility into the equation. So that means that, from a work lifestyle balance point of view, it makes it very easy for a doctor to be able to work from different locations, different settings, and that may well again contribute to alleviating some of the burnout, because it at least makes their whole working week a more flexible option.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I always talk about giving time back. That's what clinicians are after at the moment, getting that work-life balance much better than what it is.
Sure.
The final sort of thought I had was reducing the admin burden on doctors and other healthcare professionals. It's a key benefit of the software. how can we actually show that? Yeah, we can talk it, can't we? But how can we actually show
Sure.
that it is doing that?
Well, you've just occasioned upon yet another breakthrough, really, with this particular version, the cloud version. For the first time, Dragon actually has a built-in analysis module, which has a number of absolutely key metrics built into it. Now, that is a fantastic advance, actually, because previously, if you were trying to build a case for the software, it would largely be very anecdotal. Whereas now with this analysis module, you can actually assess user performance, both on a micro level per user to a macro level to your whole organization. And you can derive some really valuable information from that. So you can actually tangibly be able to measure the efficiencies that you are gaining in terms of the amount of time saved, the amount of work that you're producing. And of course, as a consequence of all that, this information can be extrapolated out and can be used indeed to show the potential for cost efficiencies as well. Right. So for me, this is again a really major advance that, as I say, for the first time, clinicians who are looking at the software and trying to assess its performance actually have some real factual data sitting underneath it, which can be manipulated and tell them exactly what it's doing for their organization.
Yeah, great. Well, we may come back to that a little bit more in the Q&A.
Sure.
Just for everyone on the call, if there are questions that have come out, I've got a couple in front of me which I'll address in a moment, but please put them in the Q&A section and I'll do my best to share those with Simon and we'll get those answers to you. But before we do, if we could just go to the next slide, I think, Simon, you'd just like to say a few words about a free trial. Sure. That listeners could avail of.
Absolutely. So as Crescendo Systems, we're very happy to offer free 30-day trials, and that can be for a quorum of doctors. So whether you're a practice or a hospital, a trust, we can allow multiple users basically to run the trial. It's 30 days, there's no obligation involved. We just want you to kick the tires and try the technology out for yourselves. And the good news associated with that is that the analysis module that I was just referring to is also live whilst you're actually conducting your trial. So what that means basically is at the end of your 30 days, you are going to be able to have some hard granular data to be able to assess how well it's performed for your doctors and other healthcare professionals. So you can see there's a QR that you can scan, or indeed an email address. You can just contact us at that email address, and we'd be absolutely delighted to set up a trial for you.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thanks, Simon. Goodness me, that's an offer not to miss. Well, let's come to the last part of our webinar with some questions. And Simon, I've got one here in the Q&A section. If you do have any questions that people are listening, please pop them in. Just what is the difference between Dragon 1 and Lexicon Echo and Dictate IT? Very different things, aren't they? I wonder if you could just differentiate between those.
Sure. Well, I think that's probably something we probably prefer to discuss offline, really. I don't want to get into the business of comparing. I think, to be honest, I think that the merits of Dragon Medical 1 speak for themselves, really. I'm going to have a certain level of, I suppose, bias from the point of view that I've been involved with Dragon speech technology for as long as I have. And for me, it's always been, although I've obviously been involved with other engines, for me, it's always been by a distance the superior end, the front runner, basically. So without really wanting to get into too much detail, all I would say is that I think that if you trial Dragon Medical 1, I think that you'll be very satisfied that in terms of a speech recognition solution, it will tick all of the boxes that that a doctor needs from a performance and productivity point of view.
I mean, the key is the quality of the speech engine, isn't
Absolutely.
it? It's what has changed over the years is the AI, the deep learning, and the algorithms that sit behind it. And I think that's the important sort of general point about quality and performance.
Sure.
And that sort of thing. It's all in the speech engine. Just looking at the speech engine, a question we often get is around different accents. What's your experience been about clinicians from different backgrounds, different countries coming to work in the NHS?
Sure.
How's it work for that range of accents?
Sure. As I mentioned earlier, Simon, I mean, one of the real breakthroughs, I think, with this version is the level of accuracy you can expect immediately out of the box without any training. And I think what it comes down to is that its ability to understand the phonetic pronunciation of an English speaker, irrespective of dialect or origin, is quite extraordinary, really. And it's, in my experience, it appears to be very, very consistent across any range of dialects or ethnicities. So as I say, it's one of these, it's something that needs to be tried and tested, because the proof of the pudding is obviously in actually experiencing it. But, you know, quite genuinely, it really does not have an issue with backgrounds, dialects, accents at all. And as I was saying, really, it's the journey from its understanding of pretty much any voice to understanding an individual's voice almost perfectly is actually now a very short journey that you have to take. So the results are very impressive from the get-go. They get better, and they can get better very, very quickly with the right guidance and advice.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, because again, it does boil down to the quality of the speech engine, the AI that sits behind it. And I think it's also worth learning that the engine's always learning from every conversation you're having. You know, one of the things we saw was that slight delay sometimes before a sentence completes, but it's worth pointing out it's doing that on purpose, because it's waiting to see how the sentence completes, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Because between the two of us, we might have different ways of the way we have a sentence, our construct, the order we do things, and the engine's smart enough that it's saying, oh, okay, let's just see, you know, how this sentence is going to end. Is it like it was before? And again, you know, that's boiling down to the engine.
Yeah, there's two strands. Sorry, just to enlarge on that. There's and why you see that little pause before the words appear. There's basically just two strands to the technology, both of which are very sophisticated. One of them is the acoustic modeling. Now that's the part of the engine that's listening to a voice and understanding how that voice pronounces phonemes, of which I think there's 39 in UK English across the board. So you have the acoustic modeling happening, but also, as you've alluded to, Simon, you also have statistical modeling also happening, which has been enhanced with AI. And what that's doing is it's busy predicting the probability of words following words. And actually that adapts according to the work that an individual does. So it's constantly evolving and improving. And the tiny pause you see between dictating and the text arriving on the screen is just simply the engine converging those two technologies and making a final decision about what you actually said. That's why it's as accurate as it is.
That's key. It's playing into the accuracy component.
Absolutely.
We're coming towards the end. I just wanted to ask you, so you did some really great stuff with templates and with some step-by-step commands. And they're two things that the new analytics program can actually measure and put some time savings around that.
Sure.
Could you just say a little bit about how clinicians can be using templates and step-by-step commands to their advantage to keep on giving them time back?
Absolutely. So these are a couple of major features of Dragon Medical One. The ability to create your own custom commands, which enables you in turn to very simply be able to speech enable templates, as you saw in the demonstration. Also the ability to add auto text into your document. So if you have standard blocks of text, you can simply attach a voice command to it and bring that automatically into your document. You can go a step better than that, actually. You can also create variable fields within that auto text, so that if you need to customize some of the information, for example, a patient appointment where you need to add the individual patient's appointment time and name and details, you can do that as well. They are actually very, very key features, which, as you rightly said, Simon, are measured as part of the analysis. And what they will do is enhance and improve your workflow dramatically, not only make you more productive, but also make your workflow move more swiftly and more in sync. That's something as a company, Crescendo, that we offer as well as a service, to make sure that you're getting the maximum benefit from the software by just simply enabling it and allowing it to reflect the type of workflow that your organization is after.
Well, that's a good note to finish on, because it's so important not to forget about workflow. Listen, Simon, and thank you for that, and thank you for our audience for joining us today. This session has been recorded, and the replay will be shared by the Crescendo team soon. You should also be able to see some contact details on the screen now. Suffice it to say from me, just thank you very much for giving up your lunchtime today. I hope you found that interesting, and please take up the offer of Crescendo's free trial. You won't be disappointed. But from Simon and myself, thank you.
Thanks very much.